Good morning. This is Robert Goodman here on Positive Stroke, Staying Clean. I'm here sharing about recovery, and today we'll talk about step 7. We humbly ask Him to remove all our shortcomings. We humbly ask Him to remove all our remove our shortcomings. When I got to this step, I knew right then and there that in order for me to truly get recovery is that I had to give my power up to a power greater than myself and ask for help. Ask Him to relieve what I was experiencing in my active addiction, to be humble. Because see, when I walked into recovery, I learned that my way wasn't working. Also, that I could identify with others like me. I could feel that connection with those like me, those that are suffering in active addiction. And as I listen to their stories, I didn't feel ashamed of my situation because I found out I have a disease. And I'm not the only one like that. When they shared their strength and hopes with me, it made me want to look at myself and not the way I want to be looked at, not the way I want to present myself to be, but who I truly was by my actions and deeds in my active addiction. So as I learned more about myself and how I did the things I did in my addictive state, I knew that I need a power greater than myself to help me be restored, my sanity. I need someone greater than myself to help me overcome my shortcomings, the mistakes I made, the way I present myself, that I could be honest and open to change because I realize I'm a faulty person. I realize I made a lot of mistakes in my active addiction, and I have a lot of wreckage to clean in my past. When I given my power over and said, I'm asking for help, I'm saying my way is not working, my direction is not right, that I need to learn more about recovery so I can live my best life, so I can understand addiction, so I can understand Robert through his addiction, why Robert did the things that he did, when he did the things he did in his active addiction. And that meant that I had to keep the focus on myself, that I had to look deeply at myself and my actions and see where they was leading me. And was it a benefit or not? By me going through these steps and working them honestly and openly, I became humble because I knew no way in my life how to live clean and sober because I wasn't focusing on Robert. I wasn't overcoming situations that happened in Robert's life. I pushed it up under the rug. I allow it to live rent free in my head. I allow it to make me make bad decisions because I took that pain and brought it into the present situations that I was facing. The revenge and the animosity grew and built over and over again, living rent free in my head. causing me to be a very evil and vengeful person because I never overcame the mistakes I made. I never lived through the pain of the mistakes. I would stuff the situation, stuff it, not think about it, not do anything about it, but stuff it within inside me. And what I found out in living life on life's terms that you may stuff the pain, you may stuff that bad situation, but it always surfaces and live rent free in your head and give you pain, remorse, anger, resentment, and revenge. It always comes back to the surface. But I'm learning in recovery is that by me working on the situations that has happened to me that were bad, that I could not handle, that I went through the pain, accepting what has happened to me and what was done to me, and go through the pain, the more I talked about it, the more I went through it, the less power it began to have over me. Yes, it hurt, but as time went on, the pain got lesser and lesser. And I realized that the problem is not what's important, it's the solution to the problem. That's what's important. The solution. I realized that I can't allow things to live rent free in my head because when I do allow things to live rent free in my head, then they control the narrative of the solution. I'm allowing the pain to live rent free in my head. I'm going over the same feeling over and over again. But if I clean the wreckage of my past, if I go through the pain, accepting what was done to me, forgive myself for allowing this to happen, forgiving the person that done this to me, and give it to a power greater than myself to help me let it go, I get better. I share the pain. And eventually, it doesn't live rent free in my head. It doesn't hold me hostage to have resentment. I know I'm not a perfect person. I know I make mistakes. I know I look at things sometimes in the wrong way. That's why I'm asking a power greater than myself to remove these defects of character that I have. To remove these defects of character that cause me to go down the rabbit hole, that causes me to make bad decisions. Recovery is learning about Robert and what Robert can do to make his life better, to face the good times as well as the bad times, to overcome situations by working on the problem, the solution, not crying the blues over the problem, but always looking for the solution for the situation that has happened. Understanding yourself allows you to know yourself and make less mistakes. And to know where you're weak at, you know where you need to work at. I know where I'm weak at, so I work on thyself to make myself stronger, better than I was yesterday, to overcome the problems of yesterday so they don't be a problem today. Working on myself. But I know I only can do so much work. That I'm asking a power greater than me to remove my shortcomings, which I choose to call as God. Because I believe God has created me, so he knows what he has created. And I'm asking for his expertise, his help to make me a better person. To make me a better person. I'm asking for a power greater than me to help me get rid of my shortcomings, to lead me in the proper way so I can be a better person to myself, to loved ones, and to others. And that's working on myself, which is a full-time job. And as I make myself better, then I receive more joy and happiness on the inside. I'm blessed. And I actually see that I'm living life on life's terms, that I'm enjoying the blessings of living my life clean and sober. I hope what I shared today makes you think. Makes you think that you can't do it by yourself. That you have to put your trust in a power greater than you to help you find your way in recovery, to work on the points that you need to work on yourself to live your best life. I have to work on mine so I can live my best life. If I do not work on myself to make myself better, I do not get better. If I don't ask for outside help to help me along the way in recovery, I don't learn. Learning about myself and recovery is the only way I can stay clean and sober. Because I'm paying attention to Robert, his actions, how he feels, his emotions, and understanding why he feels the way he does when things happen. Understanding yourself is the key to staying clean and sober. But for today, I humbly ask a power greater than myself to help me get rid of my shortcomings. And how I do that is my higher power is God. So I go to God and I ask God for his assistance in this manner. Because I realize I cannot stay clean and sober by myself. I need help from a power greater than myself that restored me to sanity, that showed me the way in recovery. I'm happy that I'm in recovery. I'm happy that my higher power helps me in my recovery. And remember, you're not alone. We are here with you, celebrating each day that we're clean and sober, celebrating each milestone in our lives that we overcome, and being blessed by learning more about ourselves so we don't make the same mistakes we made in our active addiction. This is Robert Goodman from Positive Stroke, wishing you a great day. And remember, you are the most important person to yourself. So love yourself by giving recovery a chance. You have a great and wonderful day.